You're still here. Awesome. Good for you. Pat on the back. First of all, we're now into the last week of the bootcamp. So let's start today with the process of marketing. By which I mean, how do you get from, I've got a good idea, I've added... Okay, last week of the bootcamp. Pat on the back, well done. Glad you're still with us. So we're going to start off week 4 with the process of marketing. You will have had an idea which you would have validated somehow, and you probably would have built something. But how do you get from here to the point of putting out thousands of ads and assuming it's all going to work? Well, let's use a simple system called crafting, testing and scaling. Okay, 3 simple steps. You can spend thousands of pounds with agencies who will take you through this process, but you can do it yourself. So no excuses. Let's look at the process and go through steps at a time. Crafting, testing, and then scaling. Okay, so we go through the page here and we'll start off with number 1, crafting. So crafting, certainly if you've read the T4s book, Make People Buy Your Stuff, you'll know it's all about knowing your audience. This is crucial, which is why I don't apologise for banging on and on and on about it. Your offer has to be for, I'm sure you'll appreciate by now, a certain niche or a certain group, so you can focus the message, you can focus the offer, the promise, you know the benefits, you know their pain points, you know the solution to the pain points, and so on. You don't have a generic offer, you have a specific offer. And now is the time to start crafting your message. Before you spend a penny, this is when you do what's called often focus groups, or want, for a better description, a group of people who represent your target audience so that you can check that your message is hitting the nail on the head. So what you're going to do, and I want you to do this as part of the boot camp, and you can pick on people who you know, who are friendly, who are going to be honest with you. You know, your mum will always say you're the best, so try and pick people who you know will give you good feedback, and test out your promise. So, questions such as, did they understand it? Was it relevant to them? Did it solve a problem? Did the message resonate with them? Was the price point too high or too low? Can you add value to it if it is too considered too high, and if it's too low, well, obviously you bump it up. Was the benefit clear? Was there sufficient value to justify the price? And so on and so forth. All the things we talk about in the the traffic sales book. So test that out in a group. No more than 20 people. Can be less. You can start with 1, but ideally more than 1 person to get a representation, and just see if you're ticking all those boxes. At the end of the session, if they get it, if you solve a problem, if you offer a benefit and a solution and the right price point, you would hope they'll all go, I want one. Chances are that won't be the case, of course, and that's why we call this step crafting, because you're going to get their feedback such as, I didn't get it, or what is it, or I'm not sure how that benefits me, or how does that relate to my problem, or yeah, I need it but not right now, there's no urgency involved. All of these things is crucial feedback for you to be able to craft your message so you can stand up in front of an audience and say, I know you, I know your problem, I've got a solution, here's the key benefit, here's the price, and boom, I know you're going to love it. That's what you're crafting at this point. So try it again. At this stage you can use the same people if you're lucky enough, use different people, but by all means use these people as a receptive audience to test out your message, all before spending any money. So when you get to the point where most of them say, yeah, that's good, I want one, then you're in a position that you've got a good message for that audience, for that product, and so on and so forth. Now you can start testing. And when I say testing, I mean start small. If you do Facebook ads, budget for a $5 a day, $5 a day, or whatever it might be. Don't spend hundreds thinking you've nailed it on the head. You've got to go through this phase of testing, because I can almost guarantee you will not have got it right first time. However much you've crafted the message, you've got to go through the process of testing. So if you're using Facebook ads, do the usual thing. Let Facebook work with you, not against you. Give it at least 3 days before you knock an advert on the head. Any more than 3 days, start to probably question why it's working or not, and give it a go. and see if things convert. If you're in networking groups, give it a go. This time for real, to a cold audience. See if they understand, and if they don't, please do follow up and say why. What part of what I'm saying to you do you not get? You may well be able to convert people on the spot, but remember, you've got, this is all about testing your message and now fine-tuning it. Crafting is the big picture, narrowing it down to what you think is good. Testing is squeezing it further, getting to the point when you can rattle it off and you can say, hey, Mr. Plumber, I know your problem is X. I've got a solution with a key benefit. There's a solution, there's the price. Boom, 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 boom. And then convert it to ads and so on. And then monitor it. Are you getting the visibility? Are you getting the impressions? Are you getting the click-throughs? When they get to your landing page, are they converting? And now you're starting to squeeze it in the other direction and saying, I've got the advert, the promise, the offer, I've got the landing page. Is this converting? But is this not converting? Because you need both. Because this could be hitting 100%. If that's hitting 0, if that's hitting 100%, but that's not sending anything, you've got to get these working in tandem. The key promise and offer, the key landing page with a conversion, and get them working and testing. Only once you've tested will you know if this is working and this is not so much, or the other way around, or neither are working, and so on. Get that testing phase working on a low budget to finesse what you're doing on the offer and the landing page. Don't worry too much about the rest of the funnel if you want to. You've got a whole funnel. We talked about the sales value ladder on last Friday. Don't have to worry about the whole thing. If you're just testing this component, just go for something simple, particularly if this is the first time round you're doing it. Test the ad, test the landing page. Thank you very much. Does that bit work? Then you can start bolting on the next pages and the next pages and doing the same thing. Testing it up further and further, because at that point at least you've got a steady flow of traffic that you can ideally switch on and switch off to your heart's content. So that's testing. Keep the numbers small, keep the budget small, let it do its thing. Let Facebook ads do its thing if you're using Facebook ads. Monitor it, fine tune it, and see where you go, and do not be disheartened. Some people can take days to do this, some people weeks, some people months to get to the point where they've crafted and then tested something which they then know will work. You then remove the risk of moving to the next stage. The next stage being scaling. Okay, you now have an offer, an ad or whatever, converts. You now have a landing page which converts. You now have the confidence start upping your budget. You can now start spending more money on doing what you're doing. Facebook ads, in real life, posters, letters, emails, whatever channel you're using, you now can go up to the next level of scaling. Don't be the person who spends a £5 a day and then scales up to 5,000 a day. Ramp it up. Don't think you can tick the box after you've tested successfully and then scale massively. Take it up. If you're spending a £5 a day, spend a tenner a day. If you're spending a tenner a day, spend 20, spend 40, spend 80, spend 100, and double it and double it. Because you've got to go through that crafting and testing phase before you can then scale. And before you scale exponentially going forward, do not go from 0 to 5 to 5,000. 0 to 5 to 10. Is it still working? This is part of a transition phase from your testing to your scaling. If that's then working, happy days, we're confident. We can now go on to 20 a day, 40 a day, 50 a day, 100, whatever it might be, but do it a step at a time, because things do change. As your Facebook ads, for example, is maturing, you want to see how it's going as it scales up. And the same for all the other channels in real life, in networking, in emails, in postal campaigns, in whatever channel you're using, in LinkedIn, in blah blah, and so on and so forth. However, when you get there, you've got something which you can scale up. Thomas Edison is the example I use on the page here. He failed 1,000 times at doing a light bulb. Did he give up? No, because on that 1,001th go, he cracked it. But he had to go through that testing phase first. He had to get to the point of knowing what would work and discounting at each point of cycling around the testing. This isn't working. No, this isn't working. No. Which leads me on to the fourth and very important point in terms of testing, how you can test. How do you know, for example, that your $5 budget is going to scale up? How do you know that it can be improved? How can you go from 20% to 30% conversion, to 40%, to 50 to 60% conversion? The process is a split testing. Sometimes called A/B testing. It's basically you taking two versions of something and seeing which performs best. So let's use the landing page in T4s as an example. Two landing pages. I'll flick across to, I think, let's go across to a funnel. Let's use a T4s funnel. So I've got here, let me just go in here and show it to you, an offer page. Okay, fine, one offer page. It's converting at whatever it's converting at. Let's go and have a look and see what we're currently converting at. Currently converting at 76%. Okay, so somebody is doing something. 76% of visitors are clicking on a button on that page. 76%, actually very happy with that. Let's assume it's much less for the sake of argument. Let's say it's 10%. I want to see if perhaps a different arrangement on the page, a layout, or a different headline, or a different colour scheme, or different words, or different images, or different videos would do better. Now what I don't want to do is just change that one page to the next version and see if it improves. So there's too many factors, there's too many variables involved. What I would do is duplicate my page. So Academy offer number 2. And join 2. So we now have a second duplicate page of the same page. They are identical at this point. I then go into my duplicate as such, and I make some changes. So I might say let's stick with the T4s colour scheme. So I change all of this to make it all. Oh, that's not very nice, is it? Get rid of that completely. It's just an example that I've changed that to something else. I could have changed the image, I could have changed the words, I could have put in a video instead of an image on there. I could change this button. Let's just really change these buttons. So I want to again to stick to the T4s colour scheme. We'll change this text. That's all in bold. No, it's not. So now it's all in my T4s colours. For example, it could have been the columns, it could have been one column, it's two columns, it could be anything you want. I suggest you make one change, one significant change, because otherwise you don't know what change you made the difference. Okay, so go for change the heading words or something like that. Whatever you do, you've then got a second version. And at that point, I can enable my split test. So I've got two pages. The traffic that comes in is going to roll the dice, and 50% will go here and 50% will go here. It's literally random. 50% chance of both. Don't expect, if you're refreshing the page, to alternate. If you had 100 page visits, you'd expect around 50 here and 50 there. So you might get 3 here, then 2 here, 1, 4, 7, 2, 5, whatever. But over the course of say 100 visits, you'll get to the point whereby that sits around 50% on both. And the way you enable the split test is go to the top page, click here, and click split test. And a red line appears down the side here. And what will happen is, although this first page is a page I'm linking all the traffic to, when it hits this first page, flip a coin, and 50% of the traffic, randomly, will get diverted to the second page instead. Okay? So, not alternating, over 100 visits, around 50 will go to each. And that's it. So, let's prove that it's completely random. If I go to here and I view this page, that's black and red, black and white, and there we go. So 1, 1. Refresh, this one again. back to this one. So now 3 and 2, and you can see that's that, simple as that. And it's going to go backwards and forwards, backwards and forwards, backwards and forwards, and so on. Then I would look at the stats and see which is performing best. When I get to the point that there's a clear winner, so not out of 10 visits you've got 6 and 4. Once you get to a clear winner of, say, out of 100 you've got 65% and 35% conversion, you know you've got a winner. So what do? Let's assume that join 1 was still winning best, join 2 was not performing as best. Cancel the split test and delete the loser. Gone. Don't want it because we've got a clear winner. I then go in and repeat the process. So let's go in again. And at this point I can now go in and make another one. So I can enable the split test. Probably should have done that the other way around, but we then go in and we say we've got the clear winner, the headline didn't make a difference. I could play with the headline again, or perhaps instead of a video image I would put a video on there. I'll just choose a different image instead, perhaps. And a rollover. Oh no, leave them the same. Okay, so I use an image instead, and I save that, and then I see what's going on, and I see after 100 visits which one is performing best, and I ditch the loser and I pick the winner. Now empirically, statistically, you're not guessing. You know one is performing better if you've given it enough visits. You know it is. There's no doubt because it's there in black and white stats. So you pick the winner, ditch the loser, split it, make a change, split test it, let it run, ditch the loser, and you keep going. The only thing that can happen is it will improve because you know you're following the stats, and that's why it's so important. And that's why actually split testing is so brilliant. How do you reset the stats each time? You click on this little trash can here beside each page. So I'll click that, and I'll do the same on both. They're both at 0, and then I sit back and I watch. And when there's been enough, the visits is hitting like 100, 200, something like that, I can then look at the percentage and see which one is the winner. Pick the winner, ditch the loser, rinse and repeat. That's split testing, and why it's an awesome way to make sure that you're continually improving your landing page. And you do exactly the same on your Facebook ads or whatever you're doing. You run 2 in parallel, and after it's been running on Facebook ads maybe 3 or 4 days, ditch the loser, pick the winner, split test it, subtle change, boom, again and again and again. And that's split testing, and that is crucial to the testing phase when you're getting to the point when you're going to scale up.